to be ahead of this before any federal agents are in Chicago to make sure that CPD and federal law enforcement know how to work together. And there's a lot of coordination that happens between those two. And I think this is a step forward, correct, to make sure that you're taking out federal agents from the shadows and defining what we expect.
Well, look, you framed it.
Hey, everyone. Welcome back to the Liberty Ledge. Today, we're diving into some pretty intense news coming out of Chicago. The mayor and city officials are making it clear they don't want federal agents storming into their city unchecked. And honestly, this is a huge move that could set the tone for how other cities push back against Washington overreach. Let's break it down.
Well, look, you framed it quite well. And quite frankly, the reason why this executive order is so paramount is because even though we know that this president is behaving outside of the bounds of the Constitution, it hasn't stopped him, but it stops in Chicago. And so this is about making a very clear distinction between what our law enforcement engages in versus what federal agents engage in. Because look, we have collaborated before, particularly getting guns off the streets of Chicago, the trafficking of drugs, the trafficking of human beings across this country. You know, we have just had a major breakthrough where guns that were trafficked in from Indiana and Mississippi, we were able to interrupt that and get over 150 guns off the streets of Chicago. That's not what's happening right now. And so this executive order makes it emphatically clear that this president is not going to come in and deputize our police department.
So the big headline here is that Chicago's leadership just rolled out an executive order making it crystal clear. Federal agents aren't going to just waltz in, deputize local police, and start operating in the shadows. This is a preemptive step before any boots hit the ground. And in my opinion, it's a smart move because let's be real. Once federal power creeps in, it's hard to reel it back. The speaker said it best, coordination is important. There's already a lot of collaboration between city police and federal law enforcement, especially when it comes to cracking down on gun trafficking, drugs, and even human trafficking. Those partnerships can work. But what Chicago is saying here is, we're not against working with federal agencies, but we're not about to give up control of our own police force. And honestly, that distinction is huge. Now, this executive order isn't just political theater, it's setting boundaries. Think about it. If the federal government can just deputize city cops at will, you no longer have local accountability. Who are these officers working for? Who's calling the shots? And if something goes wrong, who takes responsibility? This is why cities need to be proactive, not reactive. I think Chicago is trying to get ahead of the chaos before it even starts. The speaker came right out and said it. This president has been acting outside the Constitution. Whether you agree with that statement or not, the reality is there are limits to presidential power. If we don't draw those lines, what's to stop federal agents from stepping into any local issue? Today it's Chicago, tomorrow it could be your city, my city, anywhere. That's not how federalism is supposed to work. And here's what I found interesting. Chicago has already worked with federal agents in the past, and they've seen results. They've taken guns off the streets, disrupted illegal trafficking networks, and made progress. So this isn't about refusing to cooperate. What they're rejecting is a federal takeover that bypasses local decision-making. That's a key difference, cooperation versus control. And honestly, I respect that distinction. Now, one of the most powerful points here was that Chicago just intercepted over 150 illegal guns trafficked in from Indiana and Mississippi. That's a major win. And it shows that when local law enforcement has the freedom to focus on real threats, they can deliver results. The issue isn't whether Chicago police are effective, it's whether they should be forced into being an extension of federal policy, whether they agree with it or not. So here's my take. This is about balance. Yes, crime is a serious issue in Chicago. Yes, sometimes federal resources can help. But at the end of the day, local law enforcement has to answer to the people of Chicago, not to Washington, D.C. This executive order is about preserving that accountability and protecting constitutional limits on power. And honestly, this debate isn't just about Chicago. This could become a blueprint for how other cities respond if federal agencies try to expand their reach in the name of law and order. Whether you agree or disagree with the mayor, you've got to admit this is going to set off a nationwide conversation about the role of federal agents in local communities. But that's just my perspective. I want to hear what you think. Do you support Chicago's move to block federal deputizing of police? Or do you think federal agents should have more authority to step in when crime spikes? Drop your thoughts down below in the comments, and let's have a real discussion about it. If you found this breakdown helpful, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to the Liberty Ledge, and turn on notifications so you don't miss future updates on U.S. politics and law enforcement. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.